Welcome to Bastard Quest. I'm the Game Bastard Kyle.
I am Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.
We're playing Blades in the Dark.
Again.
Yes, a game by John Harper, put out by Evil Hat, about ne'er-do-wells in a Victorian-style city powered by demonic whale blood and ghost souls.
Anything could be a hat.
Anything could be a hat.
Your wife. Your child.
So, our gang of villains, assassins, the KFC, that's who the guys are, just completed the successful assassination of Rasmus.
Yeah, successfully made it look like an accident, too.
As we say in our gang, our bucket is now full.
I mean, accident, more, I guess, a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Knock some fireworks into a crowd.
At the end of the day, Kyle, it was gravy.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody else got hurt.
No.
Yeah.
Except for the people that got hurt.
Oh.
But if you...
I threw several people off a building, I think.
That is true.
Oh.
At least one person.
But
you were not implicated, and I don't even think anybody that spotted you at the event lived. Austin, who are you playing?
I am Moonlight Mitchum. He's a lurker.
Corey?
I'm the slide toe bean. What?
I love nothing.
It strikes fear into the heart of
It
many.
does.
Yeah.
Many a man.
You never hear those soft paws coming.
What is a slide?
It says here on the sheet, a subtle manipulator and spy.
All right. Todd, who are you?
I am the Whisper Uwe, alias the Haint. That is the word ain't with an H in front of it.
Ah, southern man.
It looks hieroglyphic if you look at the letters upside down.
Oh, I've never done that.
Incidentally, so do many things.
Yeah.
Upside down.
I have a congenital chest twin.
It's congenital now.
Cirrhosis of the chest.
His name is Nathan. No, I'm not letting you out to do a monologue, Nathan.
Blades of the Dark is a game that has 3 distinct phases. The first is free play, and that's where characters go about their lives, pick up jobs, and can gather information on those jobs. Then there's the score. That's when they're out doing the work of criminals. In our case, it was an assassination.
Ah.
Because they're a gang of assassins. The next phase is downtime, and that's where we...
Party!
Yep. It's just a lot of blow and hookers.
Lord.
Or none of those things. It's figuring out any fallout from the score, good or bad, figuring out how much money the characters made, and then you can undertake downtime activities that can improve your gang standing among the other factions of Duskfall.
Okay. That kind of reminds me of the One Ring had a similar kind of downtime.
Yeah.
And Warhammer Fantasy
Yes.
has a similar kind of thing, right?
It did.
So I will say that that is correct, though in the cases of those games, both of their downtime activities are more ancillary, while the downtime activities in Blades of the Dark, I think, are really as much a core part of the game as the score itself.
Absolutely. Okay. Most of Evil Hat's games in general, I think, including and especially any Forged in the Dark games, kind of make a system out of dealing with the day-to-day scene role-playing and then a big picture phase.
Yeah, I think that's largely accurate, at least the ones I've played. So the first thing we do is we calculate the payoff. So Austin, how much coin did I say I was going to give you?
Well, Kyle.
31.
I believe it was 3 coin standard for the assassination, 5 if we could manage to make it look like an accident.
And it definitely looked like an accident, so you would get 5. However, so one of the conceits of Blades of the Dark is that in the city of Duskfall, every inch of the city is controlled by one faction or another. So one of the choices you have to make when you're getting your payoff, which in this case is 5 coin, is if you are going to pay a tithe to a ward boss or a faction that's in control of the area where your score went down. Now, you don't have to. This is your choice. However, if you don't, your reputation with that faction will suffer.
Yeah. Now, normally, our grounds of operation is in the district known as Silkshore, which is controlled by the Circle of Flame. However, this last job took place in White Crown, which was noble territory, and I'm not exactly sure, or can't remember at least, who controls that.
And we already had bad reputation there to begin with.
With the general population.
Right.
So the Imperial military controls White Crown. So essentially, if you don't pay the right bribes to the right officers, so you won't instantly gain a -1 reputation with the military, but I will start a clock to measure their level of annoyance with you. And it will be a small one.
Okay. So a lot of the gradual action in Blades in the Dark can take place through clocks. Like if Kyle wanted, he could have basically given us a time limit on how to pull off the score, saying like Erasmus is going to leave White Crown in this many turns or something like that. And he would have had a clock going for that.
Yeah, and he would have been wearing the clock as a hat.
Yeah.
So we could see it.
Yeah, because that's the rule.
So Kyle, how does that particular clock work in this case?
So essentially, I would start a small clock, like a 4 o'clock, and think of a pie chart with 4 segments, and I would fill one in because that represents you guys not paying them off.
Okay.
And then if you did other things through the course of play that upset the Imperial military, each time that happened, I might fill in a segment or 2.
Okay, so this is a very long-term one. This is not something that would have to be reconciled like during this particular downtime.
In this downtime, no, but clocks can move faster than you think. So once that clock completed, ticked to full, then something would happen. It might be you suffer reputation, the military might send somebody to rough you up. It varies. Like, I would generally decide kind of what's going to happen once I start the clock.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have to do that. I could just say, hey, this pissed off the military enough that they started you at a -1. But since you guys were incognito the whole time, I wouldn't penalize you in that way.
Okay.
So, but do you want to pay off the military or not?
How much we talking?
1 coin.
Okay. So we got 5 out of this because
Correct.
we made it look like an accident.
Yep.
I vote we don't do it. I think we've still got a little bit of a margin for error.
Okay. I'm cool with death. It's been a bad year.
Plus, it'll make the story a little bit more interesting if, we have that kind of hovering over us a
And
little bit.
real quick, and I don't want to step on any of the game writers' toes or anything. Can we call coin blade bucks?
I have a question for my fellow team members. Is it okay if I take my portion of the coin and purchase a pristine 35mm print of the classic romantic comedy Best Friends starring Burt Reynolds and Goldie Hawn?
No.
So you've got 5 coin. The general way to distribute it would be you each get 1, and then you put 2 in your gang's vault.
Okay.
Or stash or whatever it's called. And it can only hold a finite amount. I believe it can hold 4 or 2.
I think we call it the carton.
I think it's the clutch.
So much.
So on our crew sheet, we've got several different sections. There's a section underneath coin, which has 4 slots. There are another 4 slots underneath vaults. Then there's another divider with 8 slots behind that. And I'm not exactly sure what those are for. I would assume they're for expansions of some kind.
Yeah, you can expand the size of your coin vault, which you will need to do to increase your tier later on.
Okay.
Right.
So in this case, we each individually get 1 coin. And do the 2 that go to the crew, that automatically goes to the vaults, you said, rather than into what I'm assuming is like active coin?
No, it doesn't have to go to the vault. That's just the one thing you could do. You could distribute it among yourselves as you wish.
Gotcha.
I'll take the rest. So what can we as characters do with our coin?
We will get to that shortly.
I'm ready right now.
So the main thing you can do with them is hire gangs. Like when we get to downtime, you can improve your downtime rolls.
I thought we are downtiming.
Well, I'm sorry. When we get to where you're doing actions at downtime.
Oh.
Now, the other thing you generally get in a payoff is rep. The standard is 2 rep per score. However, you guys kept your involvement completely quiet, so you don't get any.
Even with the gondoliers?
So reputation in this instance is just a meta currency that measures your impact on all the factions of the city. Like you
The
have
gondoliers aren't a gang.
well, you have a specific reputation with each faction, but also you have a general rep score.
Gotcha.
That are like points that you could spend to do things.
Okay. Basically like gaining prestige.
Yeah.
And we also, as assassins, our special ability as a crew is no traces. When you keep an operation quiet or make it look like an accident, you get half the rep value of the target, round up, instead of 0. When you end downtime with 0 heat, take +1 rep.
You would get 1 rep because he was tier 1,
Oh, okay.
and it, of course, rounds up to 1.
Now, is that in addition to rep we gain from just pulling off the job, or is that the total rep we get?
You don't get any rep from pulling off the job because you kept your involvement completely quiet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nobody knows you did it right now other than the person that hired you to do it.
That makes sense.
And presumably they aren't going around, I hired these guys to whack a dude.
Well, Toby's been tweeting about it.
Yeah.
Killed a chap with a firework.
So normally, if you had been known to pull off this job, given the number of injuries and the explosions, I would have classified it as loud and chaotic. High exposure, which would have given you 4 heat. However, given that your characters are completely undetected, nobody ever knew you were there, you get no heat
Cool.
for this mission. So you would get 1 more rep from having no heat.
Okay.
Next, you roll for entanglements, and this is generally impacted by your heat level, so you guys are going to roll the lowest possible. You guys have a 1 level of 0, which means you will roll 2 dice and take the lowest to determine your entanglement.
Oh, okay. Hey, guys, I think I should roll that.
Oh, great.
Go right ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. I didn't really expect you to accept.
I did not.
I rolled a 1.
All right, a 1.
Well, that's good in this case. That's why I did that.
Yeah, a 1 on heat level 0 to 3 on the entanglements table is not terrible. It is gang trouble or the usual suspects.
Okay.
I vote we watch The Usual Suspects.
It's a great movie.
I've never seen Gang Trouble.
It's a Brett Ratner movie.
Oh, God.
It was the Little Rascals episode where Alfalfa got jumped in. He was claiming Crip. What are you going to do?
So, the week following your successful assassination, the 3 of you go about your lives, pursuing your vices and what other hobbies you have.
I have played many hands of Uno with Celia, my spirit friend.
I've just been on me slip and slide.
I killed a rooster.
That's a sin.
So, Todd, one day you are going down the canals with one of the gondoliers that you know. He's giving you a free ride, and he says, "Hank, I gotta be honest. Brought you on this here gondolier because I got what called a problem to be pecking over you with."
Yes, my friend, even though you interrupted my dissertation of the fascism of Three's Company,
Fucking Roper.
please share with me this problem.
Well, what one of your lungers came about, and we were giving him a ride, and there was a trio of ladies also in the same gondola, and he give forth to started coughing on them and hacked up part of his lung, and Tid rightly upset them, and then he vomited over the side of our gondola in front of a nice part of town.
If you could get to what the problem is, that would be amazing.
Well, that lunger's caused us troubles, cost us coins, made us look silly like we carry around coffer people. So essentially the gondoliers are a little upset. They've been giving your lungers rides, and they've been not the most polite riders.
Just hawking loogies on
Yeah.
everybody.
So here's what they want. They want you to make this right. You can either lose face, do nothing and lose face, which means you guys would forfeit rep equal to your tier +1, which would be 2. Or no, it'd be 1. It would be 1 rep. You'd lose 1. You could make an example of one of the gang members, in this case one of the lungers, or face reprisals from the wronged party, in this case the gondoliers.
How many lungers are there?
Just 2.
Oh.
Oh,
So then after that, it's not
Wait.
really a gang so much as a guy we call.
One for each lung.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, you don't have to make a permanent example.
I feel like we really need the gondoliers because this is a city of canals.
There are a lot of canals.
And they came
Absolutely.
in handy in the last mission.
Absolutely. I do say we make an example of one of them.
What do you guys do to the lungers?
Well, Mitchum's birthday party's coming up next week, isn't it?
It is. Drinks for everybody.
All these balloons ain't gonna blow themselves, are they?
Oh, wow.
Yes, and can we get them the long clown balloons that are very difficult to blow up?
We'll make them do a twist.
I will invite the gondoliers to watch. I like it.
Give me a wiener dog, lunger.
And then drinks for everybody because, my
Get-
people, we just got a deep sadness. We do.
Get to blowing.
So, Corey, you can make a fortune roll to see how badly this affects the lungers. So, roll 2d6 and take the lowest.
I am going to force one of them to twist the balloon into the likeness of Donna Pascal.
We could give them one Mylar balloon and let them watch them struggle to tie it off.
2 2s.
All right. So, basically, I'm starting a clock called Lungers Limits. And when it fills up, they are going to either be exhausted and unable to work effectively in a score or go on strike.
Okay.
And it's about halfway full. But that is the only entanglement that comes out of this job. And as entanglements go, that is pretty minor.
It's pretty bad blowing up balloons in this world because you have to puncture it with a sharpened straw.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
They pop a lot.
So now to the downtime activities. These are things that you guys do between scores, and you can do 2 of these. They are acquire asset, which this could be another gang that you hire temporarily. It could be an item or a property. Long-term project, this is very broad. A long-term project could be doing something like you're knitting a quilt to designing a neurotoxin that's going to destroy all your enemies. I mean, it is... The sky's the limit on those.
Or both if we're the American government and
Yeah.
frontiersmen days.
You can recover if you're injured. You can make a recovery roll to try to patch yourself up.
I've got a pulled muscle.
Yeah, I think we've all
Yeah.
got a very light injury.
Yeah, mine's the level 1 harm.
Yeah, which are all marked under the less effect part of our harm table. Kyle, what exactly does that mean for us?
So under less effect, that means when you are doing any action that the harm would affect, like Corey's character is a pulled muscle, so if he were doing something intensely physical, it would reduce the effect of his action.
Gotcha.
Now, of course, he could always push himself to overcome that, but you can spend a downtime activity to recover and just roll dice to see how well you do it. Or the other way to fix an injury is to acquire an asset being a doctor, and they can roll for you, so to speak.
Gotcha.
You could reduce heat if you had any. You could go around and pay people off, intimidate witnesses, that sort of thing, but that's not a problem you guys have to worry about. Train your skills, pretty straightforward, or indulge your vice. So let's start with Todd. How much stress do you have?
I have 3 stress.
Corey?
3.
I have 6.
So Austin, you probably want to indulge your vice.
I do.
Yeah. What is your vice?
Gambling. He gambles out at Sergeant Velk's fighting pits in Dunslough.
Nice. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose your least ability, not action. It's either resolve, prowess, or insight, and you roll that
Okay.
to see how much stress you reduce.
All right. So then I'm just rolling 1 die for my resolve. 4.
So your stress goes down to 2.
Okay.
Now, for the sake of argument, that's your first downtime activity. You could spend your second to indulge your vice again
And see if I could get it down further.
and try to get it down further.
I think I'm okay.
However, if you roll higher than the stress you have, you overindulge
Oh, I see.
and something bad happens.
Okay. Good to know. That's interesting, actually. I really like that.
Yeah, so right now it's kind of iffy if either Corey or Todd would indulge their vice because they're each at 3, so they've got a 50-50 shot of getting rid of some or overindulging and something bad happening.
Right.
Gotcha. So, yeah. Mitchum went down to the fighting pits. Again, like I said before, he loves to actually get involved in the fights and then bet against himself. But this time I won tonight. Killed a rooster, I did.
Todd, is there a downtime activity that sounds interesting to Uwe?
I would like to spend my downtime writing /fic.
So this sounds like a long-term project.
It's a series based on the television show The Love Boat. But each week, all of the guest stars are mafioso.
So it's Love Boat.
Love Boat.
That's all they had on that show.
So it's Whitey Bulger and
Yes.
Jimmy the Bull Gravano.
Ted Turner.
Henry Hill is a recurring guest.
So in the notes section, you just can draw a small clock. It'll have 8 segments, and you just write Love Boat /fic. And what action do you have that you think would best be used in the writing of Love Boat /fic?
Obviously, study.
Okay. So how many dots do you have in study?
I have 1 dot in study.
So you roll 1d6.
That's a 5.
So you're going to fill 2 slots on the clock. So, Corey, in this case, if Todd really wanted to maximize his writing efficiency, he could spend a coin right now and improve the outcome of that test by 1 degree. So instead of filling 2 slots on his clock, he would fill 3.
Okay.
Now, he should not do that.
No.
But
He shouldn't be doing any of this.
no,
Yeah.
no.
In the episode that I'm working on now, Frank Nitti falls in love with a furry.
What kind of furry?
It's a sexy buffalo.
Oh my God.
I know what my Halloween costume's going to be this year.
But what do you want to do with your first downtime activity, Corey?
So I can heal my pulled muscle, right?
Yeah, you can attempt to recover. It's not a guarantee, but you'll make some advancement towards it.
So we all have what's called a healing clock. Is that what we use for this?
Yes. When you recover, you seek treatment. You could say you're going to a doctor or like some herbalist or whatever.
Well, I know there's an opening at the acupuncturist.
That's true.
I'm going
That's
there.
True.
Because we killed him.
Punctured him good, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't even think about that. When we killed that guy with a stick, it was probably like ecstasy to him. Being an acupuncture enthusiast.
He died
Killed him
happy.
poetically without even trying.
We always like to send our victims off with one happy thought.
So, recovery is like a long-term project. Your healer, whoever that is, it could be a PC or an NPC, rolls, and then you mark a number of segments on your healing clock according to their roll results. So, is your healer someone in the party? In other words, is any party member a qualified practitioner of healing or medicine?
Absolutely fucking not.
Then do you have, does any of you have any contact, friendly or otherwise, that may be such a practitioner?
I do not.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, my friends suck.
Okay. So then you will need to acquire an asset, and that asset being the services of a doctor. Now, the upside here is that one of you can use the acquire asset downtime activity to get a doctor that can provide recovery for all of you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay, so you roll your cruise tier, which unfortunately for you is tier 0, so you roll 2d6 and you take the lowest.
Cool. Got a 1.
A 6 and a 1. Damn.
Yeah.
So essentially,
I'm your doctor. It's a fucking prospector.
He finally showed up.
Oh no, it's a duck.
Let me spit on it. That's how we heal my flock.
so this is an inferior result, meaning you would actually get a tier -1, which does not exist.
Okay.
So in other words, to get a doctor at your cruise low tier, you're going to have to spend some coin.
Fuck.
Yeah. And in this case, unless you want that doctor to be rolling 2d6, take the lowest to heal you, you need to spend 2 coin to get a doctor that can roll just a solid d6.
Son of a bitch.
God
I
damn it.
know.
Even in Fantasyland, there's no universal health care.
This is a dystopia. It's set in Michigan.
Our non-American listeners are just cackling at us. Oh, those sick Americans.
Cost me $10.
we will outlive yous for 20 years.
So
And you will.
do you guys want to spend some coin to get a good physician that can help patch up your injuries?
We all have an injury that needs healed, right?
I mean, I'm just winded.
I have a pulled muscle.
Yeah, I mean, but that still counts as just the lowest tier injury, right?
Yeah.
It does.
I sound winded already. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think we could honestly save the coin and try to
Okay, fuck
make
it.
a better play for an asset later.
Yeah.
So you're not able to find any doctors that will come and help you for the price you want to pay them, which is all basically nothing. You're turned away from many hospitals and even one very seedy brothel.
There's a billboard in one of the night markets that has a flyer up that says "Doctor needed, great exposure."
Yeah, you guys are trying to pay with exposure.
Now, the real problem is we can't find any doctor that's in our HMO. They're all out of network.
Oh, of course. Yeah, all in the wasteland. Now, each of you have 1 downtime activity left.
I'm going to use mine for training. I'm going to
All
try
right.
to get on the track to build up another one of my action ratings.
All right, what attribute are you going to train? Or are you going to train your playbook?
Tell me about the difference between training a direct attribute and the playbook. Because I know I'm pretty much just banking experience.
So when you fill up the XP bar for an attribute, you get to add another dot, in other words, another die, to a action under it.
For reference, under our attributes, the slots to fill, there are 6. Whereas playbook, there's 8.
Yeah. So what do I
Yes.
get after filling up a slot in playbook?
You get a new special ability.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to focus on attributes at this point.
Okay.
So you have to fill up all 8 of the playbook to get that special ability.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to focus on one of the individual attributes. So I only have to fill up 6.
What attribute are you going to go for?
I think I'm going to focus some more on insight. There were a couple of rolls in this last score where I needed survey and did not have it. I think I'd like to build on that.
Okay. So since your assassin gang has insight training, you can add 2 XP to that bar
Okay.
instead of 1.
Don't have to roll anything?
No, training just happens.
Awesome. Okay. So I don't get anything right at this moment, but as we kind of build up XP, and we're taking XP from the score, right?
Yeah, we will do regular XP here in a second.
Okay.
Corey, Todd, what are you guys going to do for your second downtime activity?
I would like to indulge my vice.
Oh, okay. What is your vice?
I love to play Uno. I have a special deck that is hand carved out of balsa wood and features the likeness of comic genius French Stewart.
Where do you play Uno at?
We play at the Coop.
Oh, okay.
Because, well, see, Nathan does not like Uno. My friend Celia, who is a spirit, possesses Nathan and plays Uno with me.
Gotcha. Under the dim light of distant and strange stars, you play Uno. So what is your lowest attribute? Prowess, insight, or resolve?
Prowess.
How many dice do you have?
I have 1.
All right, roll a d6.
That's a 6.
Oh, you overindulged. So all your stress goes away. So that's good.
But now he's in reverse at all times.
Yeah.
Nothing but draw 4s.
And Nathan takes over. No.
God.
So when you overindulge, you make a bad call because of your vice. In acquiring it or while under its influence, what do you do? And Todd, you actually get to pick which one of these you do. And there's 4 options.
Okay.
So you could attract trouble, and we roll on the entanglements again. Or I just select one. You could be bragging about your exploits, which would increase your heat. You could be lost. In other words, your character goes on a bender, and he's out for the next session, and you bring in a new character to play until your original comes back.
Or Nathan takes over.
I was going to say, or Nathan takes over. Or you're tapped out. Your current purveyor cuts you off, and you have to find a new source for your vice.
Yeah, I think Nathan's going to take over.
Oh, dear God.
So we're going to have to take a break because Nathan will have a different playbook.
Oh, yeah. He'll be an entirely different character.
Entirely different character.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before we do that, Corey, what is your last downtime activity going to be?
I quit. Sucks. No, I'm just going to throw some shit into my experience like Austin did.
All right, cool.
I'm going to do it I'm already stacked in Resolve, but I'm going to throw more in there.
Gotcha.
So do I just get 2 to add to the 5 slots there?
That one only actually gets 1 because as assassins, our training is in insight and prowess.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So you can still train in that, but you only take 1 point of XP.
That
is
don't
correct.
help nothing. Okay, I'll throw it into prowess then.
Cool.
So 2?
Yep.
Okay, great job, everybody.
Okay, XP. Now, Austin, you're a lurk.
Yep. So on our playbook sheets, like Corey said, this one is another one of those great examples of sheets that actually come with a lot of the reference material built in. And we've got a list of criteria for how our character gains XP. For the lurk, the first criteria, and I like this one a lot because I had to do this, every time you make a desperate action roll, mark XP in that action's attribute. All right, so I made 1 desperate action roll after I fumbled the prowess roll.
Yes.
And I had to use prowess as the saving throw for it. So,
Yeah, you resisted the consequences.
yeah, so I can mark 1 XP in prowess. And then the rest of the criteria, and just for reference, this says, at the end of each session for each item below, mark 1 XP or 2 XP if that item occurred multiple times. You addressed a challenge with stealth or evasion.
Yeah, you did that at least twice.
Absolutely.
My understanding is that you can put that wherever you want. You can put it under an attribute or you can put it on the playbook
Okay.
when you're answering the questions.
All right, so I'm going to put 2 more XP under insight and get that much closer to upgrading. Next one, you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think I could talk my way around that one, but I don't really think that became relevant to our score.
Okay.
You struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session.
No, you don't even have any traumas.
No.
Corey, what about your XP markers? Do you remember if you made any desperate rolls?
I did not.
Okay.
The other criteria on the sheet, you addressed a challenge with deception or influence.
You definitely did that twice. You were masquerading as another person like the whole session.
Yeah. Sneaking through crowds.
Yeah. So you
Looking
get
cool.
2 XP. You can mark that on any of the attributes you want or on the playbook.
Okay. But that in prowess as well.
Cool.
So, Corey, did I take that to mean that we all have the criteria of every time you roll a desperate action, you get XP in that attribute?
It's on my sheet as well. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I bet that one's universal.
yeah. Every character has that.
Okay, the next one is you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Well, okay, my background is a noble, and I dressed up in fancy clothes to follow the guy and act like I belonged at the Arbor Day celebration.
I started to say you were undercover in a way, so I think that counts.
Yeah, it does. That's 1 XP.
Okay.
And it can go anywhere.
And the final one is you struggled with issues from your vice or trauma during the session, same
Yeah.
as Austin.
Yeah, you don't have any trauma. You do have a vice, of course, but...
Yeah, it was hard for me to give away that egg. I'm a foodie,
Oh, was it?
and that was my prized egg.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So, how many XP?
None.
Yep.
No, you actually take 2 off for
my
mentioning
only
eggs. It's my only deviled egg. No.
Fabergé.
So, to talk about trauma, if your stress bar maxes out, you essentially freak out and develop a trauma.
And we've got those listed as possibilities on the character sheet. You can become cold, haunted, obsessed, paranoid, reckless, soft, unstable, or vicious.
Or Grateful Dead fan.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end, if you get them all, you go on tour with the Grateful Dead.
I feel like having a chess twin is its own special kind of trauma.
Well,
It
yes.
is.
Well, you are haunted in a way.
So, Todd, did you make any desperate rolls?
I did not have any desperate actions.
All right. What are your other XP criterion?
Mine, I have a little different one from Austin and Corey. You addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power.
Did you address any challenges with knowledge or arcane power?
Well, I was knowledgeable enough to wear a ghillie suit covered in confetti.
I
Smart.
can't argue with that. That's 1 XP.
All right.
And you can put that in your playbook or you can put it under an attribute. It's whichever you want.
I'm going to put mine in resolve.
Cool.
And then the other 2 are the same as my teammates had: expressed beliefs, drives, heritage, or background, or struggled with vice or traumas.
Which you're kind of in a unique position with, I believe, is it heritage, Kyle? Because his heritage is why he has Nathan, right?
Yes. He's Taikarosi, as was Rasmus.
Although I guess Nathan didn't play a huge part in the score this time around. I don't know. Was there a point where Nathan came into play, Todd?
He was quiet. He was napping.
He was.
He could have been loud while he was military crawling.
Well, and also our victim, Rasmus, he is also Taikarosi. So we had the same heritage because he had the, was it emerald eyes?
I think Sapphire Emerald.
Sapphire,
I can't remember.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's 1 XP.
Yeah.
That's XP then.
But your gang also gets XP.
Okay, cool.
So, Austin, you want to read those criteria?
Wait, the lungers that we're currently torturing with balloons?
No, your whole crew.
Oh, I see.
Your crew sheet. They're getting experience. It's not so much a good thing.
So this one's largely the same. At the end of each session, for each item below, mark 1 XP or 2 XP if it occurred multiple times.
Okay.
Execute a successful accident, disappearance, murder, or ransom operation.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's 1 XP.
Yep. Contend with challenges above your current station. I think that counts. Didn't you say he was a tier above us?
Yeah, he was tier 1.
Okay.
And you guys went into a very high tier area.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So does that count as multiples?
Yeah, I think it should in this
Okay.
case.
Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. We absolutely did that because of the job.
Did you? I mean, nobody knew you did it.
Well, we got 2 rep.
Yeah, but is that new though? Like, I could argue, I could see bolster maybe, but definitely not new.
Maybe not new, but we did complete the job for someone who is paying us.
Okay, I can see that 1 XP. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, we're basically, nobody knows about the particular job, but we're able to add essentially another satisfied client to the list of testimonials on our website.
A review that you just completely black out.
Yeah, it's entirely redacted. There's just someone's name. Express goals, drives, inner conflict, or the essential nature of the crew. I think we absolutely did that.
I gave the guy an egg.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Kyle.
We utilized our secret blend of 11 murders and mayhem.
So that is the end of downtime. Now the game shifts back into free play where you can have scenes with your characters and NPCs. You can look for other job opportunities, or your characters can just get together and decide if you want to go claim some territory or pursue something of your own.
So before we entirely exit downtime, Kyle, it's easy for us to kind of figure out where XP needs to go on our characters. I'm assuming crew XP is going to go towards these upgrade slots down here at the bottom.
So your crew XP can go towards new crew abilities, or it can go to upgrading your gear and your lair.
Okay, so like basically every time we fill the meter, we can add one of those?
Essentially something, like that.
Well, as far as improving the lair, the coop is cool and all, but when it rains, it sucks. Can we get a tarp?
Potentially.
Okay.
I think there's
Sweet.
a tarp upgrade.
And-
We'll put a box in tarp.
Okay.
And after the tarp, once it's nice and dry, could we do a little wainscoting?
Okay.
Well, but you're out of downtime, you're in free play, and it's time to decide essentially what you want to do next. You can have scenes that you want to have related to your character background or your goals with other characters or NPCs. You could go out and try to find another job to do. There's a lot of good tables in the back of the book that I could roll on if you just wanted to get hired to do something. Or you could pursue some of your own claims in the city to expand your organization's might.
Okay.
So, guys, one of the things we haven't dealt with so far is this. So on every crew playbook sheet, each type of crew gets its own layout for this, but there is essentially a map of turf and assets, which each crew tries to acquire throughout their existence in the city. And I'm not exactly sure how we'll go about gaining that stuff.
So essentially, you start at the center, and there's connections that lead to other claims. And you just say, hey, let's do this, and then we come up with a score that makes sense around that.
Okay, so every time we want to acquire something like that, that is its own dedicated score for us to pull off.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right, so then when you're picking turf to try and capture, everything, like Kyle said, branches out from your lair, which is always at the center. And that's basically what personifies the crew reaching out and trying to capture more assets from their little sphere of influence. So our options that are available to us right now, there's general turf, which in and of itself doesn't add any value, but that is the territory that branches out into most of the rest of this map. So the other two are Fixer, which means you get a +2 coin for lower class targets, or Envoy, which means you get +2 coin for higher class targets. The other two are General Turf, which branch out into much more valuable assets later on, like getting a vice den, an infirmary, cover identities, informants, lots of cool stuff.
A combination Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is a lot, but we did post character sheets, maps, everything on social media. So any of the social medias will have all this stuff if you want to reference it.
Yeah. If you haven't played this before, I want you to think of this mechanic as basically just what sets up the narrative of the different missions we go on. So essentially what's going to happen, we're going to pick what we want to try and capture, and Kyle uses a set of tables at the back of the book to sort of randomly generate what our mission is going to be, what score we've got to pull off in order to be able to capture that.
Yeah, well, turf does do that, but also for each piece of turf that you hold, that reduces your rep cost to develop your crew by one.
Okay, great.
So if you're, I don't recall what it is, but if it takes 8 rep to go up to tier 1, if you had 2 turf, it would only take 6, for example.
Cool.
Do you guys want to do one of your claims?
Sure.
Yeah, I say we go for just one of those pieces of turf then and try and lower the level up cost.
Okay.
So we're going after J.K. Rowling?
Yep.
We're basically going after an indoor soccer field.
That's great. Uwe has a ghillie suit made out of AstroTurf.
It's very similar to the confetti suit. Okay, so there's two options for capturing turf on either side of us. One focuses on essentially assets for completing our mission. So it's things like informants to help gather info for scores, cover operations to make sure our heat stays down, cover identities, city records, things that help us research or pull off a job. Everything on the other side have to do with upgrades to our lair. So things like a vice den, an infirmary, training rooms, etc. So by themselves, the turf is exactly the same, but we can basically go ahead and pick which upgrade tree on the level up screen
Gotcha.
that we're going to go for.
Yeah.
And I vote for on the asset side.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
All right.
Just for things to help us pull off more scores. Although, Corey, if you're very concerned with healing wounds and things like that, we could go on the side of layer upgrades just for the sake of the infirmary.
No, I'm fine with and welcome death,
Okay.
As do I.
All right. So then
especially after this episode.
the asset turf kind of becomes our next target.
Cool. Well, we'll figure out what that is for next week because Todd's got a new character to make.
Oh, yes.
He's on an Uno bender.
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit shorter than most episodes, but this is a pretty cool session of this game. A little bit unique in how we normally play, but I really like how this game is structured.
Yeah, downtime is a critical component in the Blades of the Dark cycle. And once you figure out how it works, you start pre-planning. Oh, well, the next downtime, I need to do X and I need to do Y. You start doing long-term projects, and it branches out in interesting ways.
Kyle, it honestly reminds me a lot of like what happens after you get out of the dungeon in Darkest Dungeon. Like you have to collate assets, you've got to take care of your crew, and you go about planning how you're going to carry out the next job. I really love how this systemizes the progression of a narrative so much. It's not Kyle having to write this entire fictional arc that we as characters go on. It's us kind of just choosing how we want to level up the gang, and then Kyle comes up with maybe thematically relevant random jobs for us to pull. And
Yeah.
I really love that idea.
It kind of reminds me of like waiting for a new Song of Ice and Fire book.
Yeah.
You just come up with a bunch of theories and things that could happen and like, prepare for the worst and the best, but you're not getting shit.
On an entirely unrelated note, we'll see you guys in the next episode, whenever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we're really going to emulate that, shouldn't we just drop this game immediately and start playing something else next
we
week?
take a break.
Yeah, right.
Just be like, oh, we're going to get back to Blades of the Dark eventually and just never do that again.
Right.
Or just die of old age.
Or we just start our spin-off about Cham and Barge Hog adventures and whatever character. But one day Austin will make a popular character. No, he won't.
That's true. Can't wait to play Lord of the Rings again.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
I liked his giant bat. The nonverbal one.
The one that just screeched?
It was badass.
Everybody always says that. I'm at my most clever when I'm not talking.
That was a great character. I don't know what everybody's mad about it. It's my favorite character from that game.
You don't have to answer the emails.
The fan art is just, whew,
It's the Bat community.
it's arousing.
They're upset. Do you know what he was saying?
Turns out it was all really racist. I don't know.
So many slurs.
The
in the
B word.
screeching.
or whatever.
Well, as always, you guys, thanks for listening.
I like this game.
Me too.
And you know what one of my favorite things about this game is so far, Kyle?
The cholesterol?
Rolling the sweet Norse Foundry dice.
Wow.
And you can get your own Norse Foundry dice by going to norsefoundry.com. But it's not just dice. They have merch, all kinds of stuff, and their dice are made from all different manner of materials, different colors, different feels, different shapes.
Different space-time continuums.
They got like a dice that has another dice growing out of it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But that is norsefoundry.com, and once you place your order, in the checkout. Enter promo code CHAM, that's CHAM, CHAM, for the 10% Bastard Quest discount. And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Barrel and Bond, 100 Broadway Street in beautiful downtown Paducah, right there on the banks of the Ohio River.
There's a little bathroom growing out of the bathroom.
It's a urinal growing out the side of the building.
Yeah.
Just the other side of the bathroom.
And as always, thanks to all of our listeners, all of our patrons, all those that engage with us, all those that share reviews of us. We just saw another great one on Blue Sky not too long ago.
Yeah. Follow us on the socials if you wanna. We're on the TikTok now for some reason.
Cool.
Yeah, that's blowing up.
Nice.
I don't even know who Dua Lipa is. That's apparently you got to know that to be on there.
I think that's
Doja Cats and whatnot.
Don't they make coffee? Isn't that a coffee company?
I don't know why everybody on TikTok always dedicates to the same person. Everything says for you, Paige. Who the fuck is Paige?
I don't know.
It's a friend of mine.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to start doing those little dance routine videos. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, but a lot of fun content.
Yep.
God, we're good.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening. I'm Kyle.
I'm Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.